still doing the paper review. Chilling with me, most bankable host Brian Aseli.
And I am Mariam Bishar. We're getting into the Business Daily now with a look at the front page, and it's something that's really not surprising, which is that we have defaulted on our SGR loan. Kenya Railways has defaulted on 167.5 billion shillings in SGR loans. That's page 1 and 2 of the Business Daily. Kenya Railways, of course, took a loan from China through Exim Bank to build a standard gauge railway. And this default has, of course, turned the spotlight on the financial health of the rail system and, of course, of Kenya as a whole. Treasury documents showed that unpaid SGR loans accounted for 62% of the 265 billion shillings debt offered to state agencies through the Treasury. So because the SGR has basically been unable to pay for itself and to pay for this loan and self-sustain, either due to low traffic or, of course, not making enough money from the cargo side, this money has had to come out of taxpayers' pockets, which of course does increase the pressure on the taxpayer.
Yes, as we say that, there's a lot to actually equate and value against some of the things that we've been doing as a nation. One of them, borrowing in order to develop, is not the best way forward. And we remember that there is an increment in the amounts in cash that individuals had to pay simply because fare ilikuwanga ni, initially it was very cheap. I can't remember the initial price.
I think it was about 1,000, either 900 or 1,000 bob, to be honest, from like Nairobi to Mombasa or Mombasa to Nairobi.
Yeah.
Then different amounts for in between, like Voi, etc. But yes, they did increase those charges at the beginning of the year, and that has seen a steep decline in the number of passengers, which again, you cannot, I don't know, if you add the prices to something, you tax something more, it does not guarantee more revenue. In fact, it does the exact opposite. How many times can we say it?
You're actually making sense because they expected a higher passenger demand, that of course the volumes that were expected were not as at a par, and of course revenues from passenger and freight operations haven't been sufficient. Another thing is impact on the taxpayer. The loan repayment shortfalls puts additional pressure on taxpayers who are already incurring other costs, the deductions, monthly deductions, plus many more like pay as you earn na mambo kama higher taxation. Interest and repayment stress. The principal and interest payments on the loan remains challenging for Kenya Railways, and of course the Treasury has raised concerns over Kenya Railways non-payment with Chinese authorities. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the pact was. I think we need to get an expert to just give us a view on what is really going to happen in case we continue with this defaulting, because in most situations nations often lose their assets because of the same thing.
Key strategic assets, depending on what was put as collateral, what were the terms of these loans. Remember how secretive the Uhuru Kenyatta administration was about the SGR loan, exactly what the terms and conditions were. Those papers were never released. I think he promised, which journalist was it that he promised that, you'll get this contract in full, and that just went on and on and on for years. But to this day, I don't think we know fully what we got ourselves into.
And of course, I remember when CS Murkomen was in charge of transport, he was like, I'm going to give you a dossier, details of what happened with the previous government, so that everything is brought to light. We are still waiting.